Welcome to GolfCask Original Series, The Blend. Perfect for golf and whiskey enthusiasts alike. Welcome GolfCask Nation, this is Brian Bailie here bringing you a new episode of The Blend. This is going to be a unique show in the fact that we're going to hit two major topics inside of the whiskey world, inside of the golf world, and also I'm going to share where GolfCask is going in the future, the near future, and kind of further down the line, and then we'll discuss irons and oak at the very end. It has all come together. It is going to be a spectacular weekend, and I'll share that with you. So inside of the golf side, let's talk. I have a few friends here sitting on the table. So before we get into the golf, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a Laphroaig tin here. And if you don't know anything about Laphroaig, it comes from Islay in Scotland, which is known for its heavily peated Scotch whiskies. So we're going to talk about those, as well as, let's go ahead and throw down here some Silkie as well. These would be your Irish versions of peated whiskies as well. So we're going to talk peat. It's fall. What a great time to do it. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit of golf. So now we're getting, oh man, I can smell the peat. It smells like a campfire. Okay, so with golf, what are we talking about? We're going to talk about, as the fall season is really upon us, we're resetting our goals, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, right? Our golf season, for some, has already come to an end, or is it's quickly starting to come to an end throughout large portions of the U.S. So what can we do in the short term to kind of get ready for our rebirth section of the winter? I think fall to me is the best time to really create a lot of variable training. What do I mean by that? I mean, just like in football, when they run the 2-minute drill, they run a bunch of different scenarios. So when that scenario happens, you're ready for it. We should do that inside of our training for golf. We should do tons of different scenarios. I have to get up and down for par to win a tournament. I have to get up and down and one extra putt to win a tournament. I'm 3 up with 3 holes to go out on the golf course, and I have a 2-shot lead, but the person that was chasing me by the time I finish is going to be even. Or whatever that variance is, we need to start putting ourselves in different scenarios, right? Just hitting on the range, just hitting on a TrackMan or on a putting board or with a sand putt lab or anything along that lines. It's good to give you information, but what we've got to do is be varied in our ability and varied in our training. So if we can start putting ourselves in scenarios on the golf course, because typically golf starts to get lighter, especially for those that are really tough and will go out on really cold weather days. We can start hitting multiple balls, we can do multiple games, and we can challenge ourselves. Our training time will get shorter, right? Daylight's shorter. If we go to work, we only have a small window after. It's much more effective to do a lot of scenario training around the green and attacking that than trying to do big training sessions, especially when it's cold, my hands start getting cold. It's better to go out with 10 or 15 variances I want to go attack today and call that a really good training session. So what we need to do as golfers and golf coaches and alike is we really need to go ahead and start setting up our practice sessions to help us create a library, so when we are in certain situations, we've trained it, we've tested it, and we've performed. And I think that is the best way to train, especially for high-level golfers. For higher handicaps, it still works. We can still set, can I chip within a certain distance from this lie condition, so whatever that variance number needs to be. But the beauty is once we start to do that, once we start putting pressure on ourselves inside of training, play only gets better. And I'd rather you build a good library going into your winter, technical, because winter is more technical pieces, right? We can't play as much. We can basically do a lot of stuff indoors, inside the house, inside of, different complexes that allow you, such as a Top Golf or a lot of these simulator places where I can go do stuff, but don't have to always be outside. But again, to me, the fall season is the best time of the year. I love fall football, crisp days, fire pits. Fall is spectacular. Golf season's winding down. So let's cram as much learning as we can in the next few weeks. And then, like I said, in the winter months, I'll start talking about some things we can do inside, as well as not even having to go to the golf course, not even have a club, to get you playing better. So that was kind of the golf component I had, and that came from a conversation with 2 juniors I help with. as they're setting their goals to play collegiate golf, and kind of as we're kind of dictating how they're working to get to where they want to go. So I thought that I would share that with you. So let's talk about peat. What is peat, number one? So peated whiskeys have this robust, earthy, smoky flavor, and is predominantly you see in scotches. So what is peat? Peat is decomposed, boggy areas that are seen inside of Ireland and Scotland. So there are these big just fields of decayed plants and things that just, again, sit there for hundreds of years. And in the old days, they used to cut the peat, cook it, or heat it up, use it as a heating element, right? But what the distillers came to find out is if they malted the barley, so when you malt barley to make whiskey, right, you take a really hard grain, which is barley, you add water to it and it starts to sprout. And what that does is makes the actual barley piece becomes very, very soft, very manageable. And what they learned is if you put heat on it, it'll trick it to stop growing. So when you hear malted barley, basically what that is barley that they've added water to. Once it sprouts, and then they add heat to it to stop the process, so now they can actually use it for a grain inside of the distilling process. So in Ireland and Scotland, what did they have large amounts of? And what was their main heating source? Peat. So that's why Scotland and some Irishes are known for this peaty flavor. More Scotch than Ireland, but there are some Irish companies, like I said, Silkie is 2 examples of using peat inside of their whiskeys. So what I have here is Laphroaig 10. So Laphroaig is an Islay. So Scotland has 5 main regions, and Islay is kind of the granddaddy or the OG of peated, right? So a lot of Islay whiskeys are peated. Not all, but the majority of them come really, really highly peated. So anytime you see on your bottle, such Laphroaig says it's from Islay, and this Mactala as well says it's an Islay Scotch. If you see that more times than not, you're going to think it's going to be peated. Now, just because it's peated doesn't mean it's a heavy peat. My Glenkitchy has a slight peat behind it. One of my Glenfiddiches and Glenmorangis have a little bit of smoke dancing in the background, but nothing overpowering. But these 2 Islas are big, strong, bold flavors. Glen which is a Campbelltown single malt, which is one of the other regions, has a nice smoke flavor to it. And then inside of Virginia, there's a company called Casile that actually makes a peated single malt. They actually get their malt from Scotland already peated, so that smoke, so it's actually the grain from Scotland, and they actually produce it here in the States. Now inside of the States too, you'll see campfire. Some places in Texas are doing mesquite smoke when they actually retard the malting process. So there's a lot of different smokes out there, but again, when I think of peat, when I think of smoke, I think of a Scotch. Laphroaig 10 is a great starting point. Why? Because it's relatively inexpensive, it's sweet, it's smoky, it gives you all those flavors. So if you don't want to go spend a whole lot of money, it's a great place to start. And why do you want to go peat? Well, it's fall. Fall is a great time. You get that crisp weather, crisp air, looking for fire pits, hanging around with friends, sitting by a fire pit with a little smoky actual glass of whiskey is spectacular. Now you're talking more hearty meals, you're talking stews, things along that lines, roasted meats. So again, that just kind of goes into the whole smoke piece. And what I've started to do myself, when I make chili at home, I'll actually put in a little bit of a smoked peated whiskey, and it'll make my chili that I cook inside the house actually have that smoky flavor like I had been working over the fire for days with it. So the beauty of Scotch and the beauty of the peat is it is a good, subtle flavor depending on the whiskey, and it just brings something new to you. Now, I'm not the hugest peat fan. I'm learning to appreciate it. My wife enjoys peat much more than I do, but I am learning to enjoy it. It's a journey for me to learn to like it. I know Laphroaig is a lot of smoke, but it's amazing how sweet the actual whiskey is. So we'll do a quick tasting with Laphroaig as well. But the exciting part is the beauty of whiskeys is there's something for everybody, and you need to go try it at least once. You gotta try a peated whiskey. Now when you do it, make sure that it is the last whiskey of the night. You don't want to start with a heavy peat because it'll blow up your taste buds, and other whiskeys after that will just have trouble fighting through the actual smoke. A lot of the times for me, peats are nightcaps. This last dram of the night, might have a cigar or something along that lines, and this is a great complement to that. So again, that is how the peated world works. Predominantly Scotch, Irishes, and of course Japanese do peated as well. So let's dive in here real quick, do a quick tasting on the nose. Woo, smoke, baby, smoke. Lots of peat, lots of medicinal, earthy tones. Let's see if we can see some legs here. Legs appear to be pretty, they're not, yeah, they're pretty thin, moving pretty quick. Laphroaig is, I think, 90 proof, 86 proof. So kind of mid-low. Color-wise, it's a 10 years. You can see it's actually pretty dark. It's darker than you would think for some 10 years. And the beauty of too, the smoke is the longer it's in the barrel, that smoke becomes sweeter, subtler, less punchy. So a really young peated whiskey can be really, really tough to handle. But as the age gets better, the barrel and the char will take some of that bite out as well. So on the nose, of course we get smoke, but I'm getting lots of sweet. Nice. But again, the overall campfire-y, a little bit of floral, but smoke nonetheless. So cheers, Solancha. I'm always amazed when I do go to Laphroaig bag, some of those. On the nose, they're big, powerful. When you actually taste it, you get the smoke, but there's this sweetness, this honey, this crispness that kind of dances around and has fun. And then the finish becomes smoke again. So there's, what I've come to find out about a lot of these peated scotches is there's a sweet middle that is just absolutely spectacular. Bounced around by a little bit of smoke. So again, on the nose, we're getting smoke, I'm getting sweet. On the taste, right out the gate, I get smoke, but I get this wave of sugar, honey sweet. And it kind of hangs out and kind of tug of wars with the smoke for a little bit. And as the sweet kind of clears, the smoke settles in on the finish. So again, with the finish. I am becoming a peated fan. I keep trying them, I keep going back. I'm really enjoying this today. And again, Laphroaig is kind of an introduction. 10 is kind of an introduction into your peateds. So, finish a little dry. Smoke dancing around. It's a pretty viscous whiskey. It's hanging around. Medium finish. Bold, strong smoke. Still getting some of that sweetness, kind of comes in and out a little bit. Really, really enjoyable whiskey. So, Laphroaig, thank you so much. So let's talk about irons and oak in 2025 inside of GolfCask. Inside of GolfCask right now, I have a capstone project going on with UVA Data Science. There's going to be some really cool pieces you're going to start to see introduced probably through the winter months and on through spring that are really going to elevate what GolfCask is going to bring to its membership. So be on the lookout for that. We are bringing a forum inside of GolfCask shortly, and I'm going to encourage you guys to come into the forum and start posting, because we're going to start to use some of those posts, especially on whiskey tastings and things along that lines, as part of our data research into what we're creating. So you'll be a guinea pig. So once the forum gets rolling, I will let you know when that is, and then we're going to go in there. And then what I'm going to do inside of that to encourage members to use the forum, every week I will randomly select somebody that posts in the forum for a free lesson, whether it's a golf lesson in person, a whiskey lesson in person, or we can do it online. I'm going to go ahead and give you an hour of my time, give or take, to help you elevate your games, whether it's in whiskey or golf or both. So again, I'm going to do that to start encouraging more people inside the system. The system is finally kind of getting rolling. It took a couple months. There were some things going on in the background that had to be situated. It's all been situated, well, almost situated. It is mostly situated, like mostly dead. So over the next few weeks and months, you're going to start to see big changes inside of GolfCask, and again, driven by what the membership is asking for. So be on the lookout for that. Also in 2025, I'm going to start laying out a calendar. There's going to be monthly meetups online for whiskey tasting, golf talk. There's going to be a new series inside of GolfCask for whiskey and a new series for golf. more to come on that. I'm going to share with my group December 6th to 8th what that is. So they'll be the first to hear it. Then later on in the month of December, I'll start to show you what's coming. Really big, cool stuff for the golfer and the whiskey maker and the whiskey fan out there. You're going to love what we're doing. So that's 2025 coming up. All steam ahead. We got lots of cool stuff coming. And again, it's really going to be catered to 2025 is really going to be GolfCask's year. Irons and Oak is getting ready to come up. Irons and Oak is our kind of big event that we started last year, and we're carrying on this year, and then we're going to hopefully start to expand our Irons and Oak 2025 and 2026 to other cities, other countries. So be on the lookout for that. And again, members get first access to invites. So if you are not a member currently of GolfCask, go to golfcast.com, become a member. It's free right now. Join us and make sure you're in the loop to be able to get special offerings and things along that lines. So we do have Irons and Oak coming inside of GolfCask or inside of Virginia again this year. We do Virginia, and we're going to really harp on or highlight a lot of the whiskeys inside of the Virginia. So Catoctin Creek and Becky, who's the head distiller, is actually going to come out and hang out with us on the whiskey jar. So the first day is December 6th. We're going to meet at the whiskey jar at happy hour at 4:30. Then we're going to do a Virginia whiskey tasting, high-end Virginia whiskey tasting. This is spectacular. We've been working on this. For a lot of people, you have not tried these Virginia whiskeys, so that's going to be awesome. Becky, like I said, from Catoctin is going to be there, and she's providing gifts for everybody that is actually part of Irons and Oak, which is really, really cool. We have Tarnished Truth, Lost Whiskey, American Brick. That is a group out of New York, but they're good people, so they're going to be highlighted inside of this. Virginia Distilling Company, Ragged Branch, Silverback. All these great distilleries are giving us tons and tons of swag and gifts to everyone that attends. So the beauty is everybody's going to walk away with their fair share of whiskey and golf memorabilia and swag. So that's a big piece. So again, we started the Whiskey Jar Friday night. Camaraderie, friendship. We're going to do a great tasting. We're going to have a great dinner, and we're going to get to meet all the new people that did not come to Irons and Oak last year. So we're going to kind of get to know everybody. And then Saturday, we're going to roll right into golf Saturday morning at Birdwood Golf Course. We're going to play 18 holes. And then after Birdwood, we're going to roll right into the Mill Room, which is connected to the Boar's Head Resort. And we're going to do a 3-course dinner with whiskey pairings for each course. So we've been working on this whiskey pairing piece as well. Again, we're going to highlight some Virginia whiskeys there as well. So a lot of the whiskeys we're talking about inside of that I just kind of talked about, giving us swag, these are going to be whiskeys that we're really going to highlight over the weekend. So after the Mill Room, we're going to go hang out somewhere, watch some college football. And then the next morning, Sunday morning, we're going to drive up to Greene County, which is about 30 minutes north of Charlottesville. And we're going to go to the Exchange Cafe, where we're going to have a special brunch prepared for us. That's going to have some whiskey and bourbon notes to it. And then we're going to go right next door into the Virginia Foothills Distillery, and we're going to do a tour and tasting and meet the blind preacher. Sounds exciting. And then our day wraps up for some that need to get back. For the remainder that want to go play golf with me, we're going to head out to Green Hills, which is the golf course that I'm a member of. We're going to play 9 holes, and then we'll have a special bottle share. After that, for those that wish to play 9 holes more and hang out with myself and other members of Irons and Oak. So this is a spectacular weekend. It is $500. That's it. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's not. Think about it. We're having a high-end whiskey tasting. We're having a 3-course dinner. We're playing one of the best golf courses in all of the state of Virginia. We're going to do a brunch. We're going to do a tour. We're going to have a 3-course meal at a fine dining restaurant with whiskey pairings, and tons of swag and gifts for $500. Why have you not signed up yet? So for those that want to join, reach out to me. You can email me at brian@golfcast.com. Ask for information. I'll be more than happy to send it to you. We're going to be between 16 and 20 golfers, and currently we're close to 10 that have already signed up. So really, we're only going to be looking for 6 to 8 more people to sign up. So if this is an interest, make sure that you reach out soon and let me know. I want to make sure you're here. If we need to expand the field, I'm not going to go above 20. So that's not really gonna happen. So maybe I expanded from 16 to 18 up to 20, but it won't get much bigger than that just because it becomes very unwieldy to handle more than 20 people by myself. In the future, we'll have larger groups, but again, this one is kind of the fun one, a little smaller, a little tighter group. Everybody that went last year, for the most part, is coming back. So again, it's just gonna have a couple seats open for new people this year. But it's gonna be really, really exciting. So if you've never been to an Irons and Oak, if you enjoy golf, if you enjoy whiskey, but more so if you enjoy good camaraderie, good laughs, good stories, you should really attend Irons and Oak. So that's coming up as well. So I'm gonna end it with this. Please come join us for Irons and Oak. I'm excited for 2025. My life is in order now. More stories on that in the future, especially over a good pour. But as we're going into 2025, there's some really big, cool pieces that I'm actually getting sponsorship for. We're gonna expand our video content, what we're gonna provide you inside of GolfCask, as well as YouTube, Instagram, and all of our socials. If you don't follow us on the socials, you need to, GolfCask. Go find us, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Rumble. I think that's it. So make sure you go subscribe, like our stuff, as well as make sure you become a member at golfcast.com. And we're gonna start to curate different videos based on your interests. So again, if you come in as more of a whiskey fan and less of a golf fan, it's fine. We're gonna curate more whiskey content to you. If you come in more of a golfer and not a whiskey fan at all, we'll curate you golf information as well. So again, come in and bring what you want and maybe expand your horizons while you're there and become a whiskey fan or become a golf fan. Things along that line. So again, I want to thank everybody for spending your time with me. The last 2 weeks have been kind of chaotic. Went on family vacation. A lot of things going on in my professional and personal life outside of GolfCast that are all getting situated. So life is actually really, really good right now. This is the best I've felt in the last 6 months, and the trajectory moving forward is man, it is rosy and happy. So without further ado, I want to say Salancha, thank you, cheers, fall, try your peateds. Thank you.